The SBPA Academy Learning Hub is an online training and reference resource for SBPA members and associates. Our speaker, Zeenath, will be sharing digital marketing for book publishers.
Welcome to everybody. The reason why I'm dressed down a bit is I just want to make sure that this is a more relaxed session for all of us to openly discuss about whatever that is there. You know, I know all of you came from different walks of life and different kind of publishers. I believe most of you are interns. So I've made the slides into a very simple to understand format. And I'll also kind of share some real life experience so that you can understand how it all fits together. On the other hand, assuming if you have a lot of questions, of course, you can park it for later on. On the other hand, if you have a bit more technical or operational questions, probably we'll take it and reply to you one-on-one after the class. And I'm always just an email away, or so we can always talk again if you have any other questions or anything that you want to personally discuss about your digital marketing strategy and operations. I will share my email at the end and my contact details at the end of the class. I'm also available in LinkedIn, which is my professional B2B platform, and you can connect with me there. You can just Google my name, or you can just search for my name in LinkedIn, and I'm there. Thank you for Singapore Book Publishers Association for having me in here. Cecilia and I have gone a long way. We've met a couple of years back where she has taken a course with us on a postgraduate degree in digital marketing. So she's not new to digital marketing. She knows a lot of things about digital marketing. And all of us know that digital marketing itself is not a general, it can be a generalist play, but then it has to be a specialist play because there's so many moving parts and components to digital marketing. And especially for some of you who may have already been in that space, you may be able to relay with what I'm talking about. It's just so many moving components. So just by taking a 1.5 hour class or a half-day class or a 1-day crash course, you're not going to become a master. So let me set that expectation first. But on the other hand, it's not like something that we can master either. So this 1.5 hours, we're going to touch on high-level overview of digital marketing. And this will be the program agenda and the flow of the session. So I'm going to introduce myself and my company very quickly, and then we're going to go into the overview of digital marketing strategy and the concept simplified. After which we'll touch on the different components which Singapore Book Publishers Association had for us, which is content marketing, digital advertising, social media marketing, and analytics. And if we have time, we will also touch on additional topics where I can show you how to put all of these pieces together to execute a successful campaign. And also, how do you audit the health of your digital marketing in your company as well. And this is if we have time, but if I'm going too fast, please do slow me down. But on the other hand, we have a bit of things to cover. Let's see how much we can cover as well. And at the end of the session, we will definitely touch on some of the courses and funding that's available for you all to upgrade yourself and for your companies to hire new hires with some salary support. And we also address any other questions. Okay. I know questions are coming in, so I'll be checking in a while. Yeah. So quick intro to myself, which is Asia Pacific Sales and Marketing Academy. We are an e-university for sales. It's supposed to be a one-stop platform or one-stop partner for anybody when it comes to sales and marketing. And primarily we do vendor biased, vendor neutral, vendor agnostic education, where we want to give our students and organizations a big picture view of what's going on in the industry and what to expect in each of the specialized area. And then from there, they can go and make their own decisions. We are in partnership with the Global Association for Inside Sales, the Association of Professional Sales, and we are also the appointed program partner with the Singapore government E2I for inside sales and digital sales transformation in Singapore. And we do a lot of marketing education for sales professionals. Why sales professionals is because we want to make sure that there is this tie-up and alignment between sales and marketing, so that whatever efforts that we are doing on a marketing front, it's not just for branding and PR, but also for lead generation, demand generation, which also kind of impacts and contributes back to the company's revenue and bottom line. So we're very much focused on that area. And this is us. And we have been recognized and awarded by various entities and bodies. We have got these, we have been recognized by CMO Asia, Singapore Business Review, by Human Resources Asia, Times Accent, and various others. And these are some of the accolades we have collected. Personally, for myself, I have been in the industry for about 20 to 25 years. I've always been working on the customer experience, customer excellence, sales and marketing scope for the last 20 years. So I've come from more from a sales-focused experience. On the other hand, because I work with a lot of the marketing CMOs, I also kind of accumulated that, and having managed my own business, I've kind of put together all this marketing knowledge myself as well. And the last role before I jumped into this organization was with Microsoft, where Microsoft regional team, where I have actually worked with the CMOs and all the marketers across APAC region to align them on a centralized marketing structure and to give them that education that they require. So that's about me. And I would like to know who we have in this class for sure. And I'm going to just open up the Q&A. If we can have if y'all can just put it into the chat, like who we have in the team and what is that one big takeaway. Maybe you can introduce by giving your name. What's your role? What is your area of responsibility? 2 things you expect from the class and 1 challenge that you face. I'm going to give you all quick 2 minutes. And I'm looking at the Q&A. Either the Q&A or the chat session. Okay. So if you all scroll down to the Zoom session, there will be a taskbar at the bottom, and you can see a chat button there. Okay, nothing coming in. All right, I'll move on because we have very limited time, so I'll move on. Be good to know, but at any point of time, if you feel like sharing what are the 2 things that you expect and some of the challenges that you're facing, happy to address that at the end of the day, end of this session, yeah? So moving on. Okay, let's talk about digital marketing strategy and how it all fits together. So we all know what's the sales and marketing story. And if you don't, at least, this is how it has been. If you look at the traditional sales funnel, you may notice that in the past, even like how we have, how we buy things, right? Usually we someone contacts us, we get to know it, then we kind of do a consideration and then we evaluate and buy something. It was someone had to approach us, a salesperson approach us, right? But we all know that a lot of our digital, our consumers have gone online. Of course, there are a lot of variance factors like age, technology savviness, their preference of buying. A lot of things have changed over the past few years. So I don't want to go deep into that because I think it's a well-known fact that everyone is online. However, we know that some senior citizens who are less tech savvy are yet to adopt technology skills themselves. But apart from that, apart from those kind of audience, we also see that major bulk, and I have some statistics to show you as well, major bulk of the consumers have gone online. And with mobile phone, all of us are just doing a search online, or probably we heard from our friend, or we know that our friend actually has gone to this, or has gone to this online platform, or have bought this book somewhere. So we probably they're referring us to read it. Or personally, people are going on to different platforms and or social channels, and then they happen to click on the ads or whatever. So this is the journey that a lot of people have taken. So in the past, we have spoken about, or some of the statistics that every marketer and every organization like to share is, 64% have shifted to digital marketing, 70% have shifted to digital marketing. So we always got those kind of feedbacks. But with COVID, we all know that it has changed 100%. Everybody were pushed down the cliff to adopt digital transformation and online mode of business to business exchange. So I know COVID is not here to stay in the future, but again, I don't know what will happen. But again, knowing that a lot of students will be given one laptop each, with all this heavy investment into job reskilling and getting a lot of people to adopt online, funding companies to adopt online platforms. So we know that online is here to stay, and definitely, we are already in that era, so it's not like something that's new. So we definitely have to adopt online for that sake, and we will have a subset or a percentage of audience or consumers who would still, be at shopping malls, be at bookstores, and everything else. I'm not saying that traditional is going to totally go away. We definitely have to have a nice blend of traditional and online. It shouldn't be just online alone. Okay, so but then maybe the percentage of online is now given more priority and importance. Yeah. So because one of the mistakes that I've always seen people do is they just 100% online and they don't do certain traditional work, traditional marketing work. So we still have to have a blend of that. For example, a few years back, what I did was when everyone was going through social, I was actually doing a branding play. Because when I do an analysis, I know that this is the area that I need to do to strengthen the company or the brand, for people to recognize who we are and what we do. So it really depends on how your company is positioned at the moment, and then you take a call from there. Hopefully this session, if you can take away 2 or 3 things from our session today, that will be great. Yeah. So what does an effective digital marketing strategy look like? So this is one fundamental question. And I know a lot of people just jump straight into social media, or just jump straight into content strategy, or they just, without having a big picture of what they're doing, why they're doing, and what are the kind of results they're looking for. So, as Warren Buffett said, someone with a plan is more likely to succeed than someone, a master without a plan. Okay, so you definitely have to have a strategy in mind, an aim in mind, in order for you to progress through whatever strategy that approach or the results that you're looking for. So let's talk about that a bit. So let's start with, this is my favorite 3 things, as simple as it can get, is, do you know yourself? That's my number 1. Do you know yourself? Which means, do you know your organization? Do you know where your organization stands today? There are 10 big areas. Like, for example, we look at macro factors, we look at micro factors, we look at the territory planning, we look at which is the market that we are serving, or we are planning to the demographic or the culture or the kind of audience that we plan to acquire more market share in. Do we know where we want to serve, and do we know who are the players there? Have we done a bit of competitive analysis there? So there's just a lot of things. And Are we in a trade, or is our book in a mature state, in a declining mode, or are we at a growth stage? Or as a publisher, are we at a maturity decline, or are we at the growth, or do we need to, now that we are in the decline state, do we need to introduce new branding or new products, or diversify some of our offerings to give it a bit of life, right? So first, start with your own internal organizational analysis in terms of where you stand, where you need to be, and what's the gap, and therefore what would be the competitive differentiation that you have to offer. Start from yourself, and then your audience and your customers. Who do we want to serve? And do we know our audience, and the demographic, the psychology, their buying patterns, the customer journey? We would say, like, start with myself, like, for me, if I want to buy a fridge tomorrow, the first thing that I will do is probably take my mobile phone and Google, and then I probably will check out the best 5, and then probably I'll compare some specs. So different consumer got different kind of mindset as well. Some are tech savvy, some are detail oriented, some are image conscious, some looking for value of information, doesn't matter the price, some are price sensitive. So we got different kind of audience, and we got different kind of age groups, so different people got different styles. So work out and try to understand a bit of who you're trying to serve, who you're trying to acquire. And if you're just talking about books, how do I promote my books? Do we know, like, who we are targeting and why they need our book even, so start with understanding your customers a bit more, and what is it that you can offer that others can't. So this is very important. Okay, what is it that you can offer that others can't? Otherwise, if you Google today, there's probably another 5 different people or 10 different people offering the same thing, or another 100 or thousands of people offering the same thing. So you probably would want to check it out, like, what is it that I have to offer? Okay. Next, 4 critical stages of growth. I'm just starting the basics first, because a lot of people, at least people in sales, probably would be very, very familiar with this funnel approach. So the top part of the funnel, we always call it, is where the demand generation engine stays. And then the middle tier is where a lot of sales activity is happening. And then the last tier is where sales is finalized. So this is a funnel that a lot of people would know. So what does this ribbon means? The ribbon is basically online sales, because now with traditional sales, yes, you have all that steps, but with online sales, anything can happen, and people are just going, without even passing through a salesperson, just by marketing or e-commerce platform, people can just go online, buy the product, sell, get your goods on, through DHL, and you're done. Right? So that's how business has changed. So the 4 critical stages for growth is, number 1, before you even start, which I just mentioned, the 3 things that you need to look for yourself is, how are you positioned and what are you doing to grow? Number 2, your demand generation engine, which is what the topic is about, right? We're going to cover a lot of different things, your demand generation engine. Number 3, your sales engine. And number 4, this is what a lot of people forget. Okay, so people are always thinking of new customers, attracting new customers, but they never really pay attention to who we already have in our customer base, and who are our accounts, who are our customers, who are those people who have already purchased from us, how are we planning to serve them, and how would we want to serve them. So you also can look at every customers that you acquire, are probably, you probably can do a cross-sell or upsell, and grow from that base as well. So a lot of people always remember this, a lot of organizations and salespeople always plan on the top, but not at the bottom. So this is a flip the funnel strategy, which I think is very important for you guys to know. These are the 4 critical stages for growth at every part. Next, I don't want to go too detailed with this, but basically it just talks about at the top, first stage, where how are you positioned and what are you doing to grow, is how do you increase relevancy, your innovative offering, market diversification, new opportunities for growth. So if I'm publishing books today, I probably would want to also include cassettes or podcasts, or probably an online studio where online learning platform where people can go and learn as well. Or I probably want to give cards. Like for example, I know of one author where she was just catering for widows, people who have lost husbands, nothing else. People have lost loved ones. And she have written a book, and she's also got flip cards. And she also got a calendar where she got small snippets of encouragement notes for strength. So how can you, this is your knowledge or content, and how can you put this content into multiple ways of offerings? Okay, so repurpose investment. Some companies are just stuck with whatever we're investing is what we're going to go through for the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years. But that's not how it is supposed to be. So if you're looking at certain media or channels that you think is going to be helpful for you to be successful, you always have to look at, okay, which one is working out very well for us and which one needs to take priority. But on the other hand, there could be channels that we haven't explored, and you wouldn't know until you try. So you have to try. You also got to put in channel in new investment to this area so that people, so that you can also try and test out the results for yourself. Okay, repurpose investments. Your sentiments and attitudes towards your organization, your solutions, or your product. You have to be the first believer on what you're selling or what you're trying to market. Because a lot of people have this, like, I come to work, I clock in 9 to 6 and I'm done. But there's no passion. So if you look at a startup owner, sometimes they have this passion, on I really think this is great. I want to make this happen. They are hungry for that. So I think the sentiments and attitudes towards your organization is very, very, or the products or solutions that you're promoting is very important. Next is your demand generation engine. I don't want to go too deep in here. We got a lot to cover. So the focus and strategy is important on your demand generation engine. The channels and tactics, your content strategy, your pre-sales marketing engine, your response and speed to market is important. So if you're talking about something and you never get it done, and so you're never going to get it launched either. Okay. And our competitors are already ahead of us. So response and speed to market is very important. And of course, your sales engine and your post-sales customer excellence strategy and approach. I don't want to go too deep into this, but I'm happy to take a one-on-one session with any of you who are interested to go into further discussion on this. Moving on. So let's start with our customers. So what's going on? So this is a picture and to show you that everybody, okay, so now we're only talking about our online customer audience, okay, digital space. So everybody are doing their own research today. Okay, so if you want something, you just, as I said, you take your mobile phone, you're actually Googling up that information. You're pre-reading yourself. Why is this happening? Because all people are just calling call centers or customer service desk and just trying to find out for information or get to speak to a salesperson. But before they even speak to a salesperson, they're actually going online to do a lot of this research online. Okay, so everybody is consuming content today. Okay, and so content has taken on a lot of priority in a lot of this strategy work that we are going to be doing. However, because of this and the kind of how they are behaving, they're going to different channels. So it's not like, oh, okay, so I have a content only on my website. There's no more like that. You got to serve, you never know which channels, or unless you know that, okay, my customers are only on Instagram. My customers or my profile of targeted audience are only on Facebook. And in this particular community, if you really know, then fine. But otherwise, you never know how the behaviors happen, and they could be coming through us through various medium. And that's the reason why we are even talking about the choice of social channels, search, and everything else. Okay, so what is true and what we know is customers are already formulating an impression of the brand before they even touch it, right? So they form an impression on what they see, what they hear, and what they read, and that matters. Okay, and of course there are other things like, oh, my friend told me this, or my mom told me this, or my boss recommended this, so there are these referrals and word of mouth. But on the other hand, pretty much most of the information is already online, and they're doing all this homework prior to them coming to you already, or even choosing you as a choice. So this is a social path to purchase, and I'll be sharing this slide with you all later. So you'll have all this information. Basically, this is a statistics that shows research products online via social network. This is the statistics across different age group. Okay, so we can see that the bubble here is very, very big. And most of them are looking at researching products online via social networks. And a buy button would increase the chance of purchase. Not a lot of people are ending up buying, but at least there is a small percentage that are ending up buying. Discover brands and products via recommendations on social. Discover brands and product via ads on social discovery. So this was an interesting latest statistics that we've got, which I'll share later on. So the fact is there, a lot of people are going online to research first. So there are moments of truth with customers, and what are the moments of truth an organization or book publishers like yourself have? The moment of purchase, right? When you get a product, you feel it, you touch it, you flip it, that the moment of purchase. And also that transaction experience, like how do you pay? And this is pretty much not for you, but it's if they go to a bookstore, how do they, that whole entire end-to-end process. But if you're a publisher who's already offering your offerings through an online platform, that whole experience, transactional experience, and the moments of experience when you are feeling the product, right? So you're actually reading it, or you're actually consuming it. So that's the moment of experience. And the last one is zero moment of truth, which is research online, because this is beyond your control. Okay, beyond your control, and it's totally, you don't know where people are going, and you don't know what they're experiencing. And that's the reason why we have search, SEO, we have social channels, we also have content strategy. So all of this will play a part when people click on some of your contents or some of your mentions, you come up well online. Okay, so let's start with how does this all connect together? So this is the big picture, and I just tried to put it very, very simple. So technically, this is how it works. Okay, so let's start. Me as a book publisher or author, let's start with myself. So the basic that I should have is, if I have a book, a written book, and if nobody knows about this, how am I going to market or sell this, right? So first start with a website. Okay, a simple website. So on one hand, you have your own website, right? And you also open up your social media channels. And I'm not talking about all the channels, but where are your audience in? You were talking about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is pretty much about business network. If we're talking about Facebook, you have a certain age group, and it's more a social platform where people come in to relax, and then YouTube is for video consumption, Instagram for picture-based, imagery-based consumption. So we got different channels. So depending on who you're catering to, teenage books, kids books, cooking books, motivational books, business self-help books, like depending on who you think are going to be likely buying your products, and then you kind of open certain channels based on that. Because one of the biggest mistake that companies do is, okay, everybody has all channels, so I want to open everything. I want to set up an account in all the social media channel, which shouldn't be the case. Okay, stop doing that. And also from today's session, I don't want you to, take baby steps, right? One step at a time. Work on something, make it make it good, and then work on something else, rather than trying to do everything, because then you'll lose focus again and you probably may not be able to track it well. Okay, so on one hand we have our basic website, and we also have our channels, and for this we need content, right? You need basic write-up of what your product is about, your book is about, where to contact you, some decent stuff, right? So you have a basic website and social channels. Then on the other hand, you also have other people's website and channels, right? You also have Singapore Book Publishers Association website. You also have other websites like your HR websites, or your business website, or kids popular bookstore website. So we've got a lot of other websites as well. And this is something that we don't own, right? They have their own website, they got their own channels, and they got their own content. Okay, so one is ours, the other one is another person's property or ownership. Next, so now that you have your house, okay, ready, what do you do next? Make sure people can search us, right? If we exist there, but nobody can search us, it's also pointless, right? So we got to be searchable. So how do people search? They will type in certain, where do I want to learn how to cook, and then something comes up, or how to fix this, or how to start up a business in 5 days. How do I manage a teenager? Like people will search certain keywords or certain phrases, and you're supposed to appear. How do you appear? That is through your content. Okay, so that's why we call it SEO optimized content. So you look at keywords, and then what are people searching on the domain that I'm serving or working on, and then how can I have these phrases in my content so that when someone search for it, my content appears in front of them. That is as simple as that. Okay, and I don't want to go too deep into SEO. I know we have another speaker going to touch on this, but this is the whole concept. So you have your website, you have your content, and now you want to make it searchable. So you have SEO optimized content based on some of the keyword analysis that you've done. You know that these are the good keywords that people are searching on, and I'm going to have it in my content so that when people search, I appear. Okay, then make sure that you have links in between these pages and social channels. So if you have a blog on how to manage a teenager, for example, right? And then you have, if you read from this author, this is what he has recommended. This is a book that I would highly recommend, or go to chapter 13. This is what it mentions. And then you have a link to that particular book, for example. So you have hyperlinks, or internal links within your own website or your social channels that people can click, that will end up into your into your like when someone goes to Facebook, or they're reading certain posts, they actually can click on that link and end up on your website. So this is internal links that is required, and this is what we call on page. And these are organic, and these are things that you own. So which means whatever contents that you have today is your own, right? You own it. You decide how you want to manage this. Okay, and any links that we have in between are on page. And search, when people search and then they add up in your content, is called organic search. This is as simple as it can get. Yeah. Next, when we talk about other people's website and other people's content, that is something that we don't own. It's their property. Okay, so now you have popular bookstore, and then you have SBPA, or you have other websites, that you know of, and you can actually now tap on their platform to promote ourselves. Okay, so just like in a traditional marketing environment, you have your you have your books on the bookstore, but you have a book fair. So you can also put your books on the book fair. You can also put a banner on the book fair, or you can even pass out pamphlets in the past, right? So similarly, you're now renting out other people's, or you are now sitting in other people's website channels or social channels, so that people can also see your presence there. So when people click there, they can come to you. How does it work? It's very simple. Some websites do this for free. They encourage authors and publishers and content providers, to submit their articles to their page. Like we talk about mothership, talk about parenthood magazines, online magazines. They encourage a lot of content from external authors or writers or experienced bloggers or contributors. So similarly, there could be websites that are looking for news channel feeds, and they could actually encourage, they welcome you to contribute. So when you contribute there, your name will be there, your company will be there, the book that you have done will be there. You can actually give a link back to your website, so that when people are reading it, they actually can click there and then end up on your website. So that's how you do it. So this is what we call backlinks. And some of them encourage blog submissions. On the other hand, some of them only will do it for a small amount of fee. Like, okay, if you want a banner on my page, popular bookstore, okay, you want a banner at the top, this is how much it's going to cost. If you want a small ad here, or if you want to reach out to my database, these are all paid. So that's the difference between organic and paid. Okay, so organic is, people just direct traffic or people searching and coming to us. The other one is paid or earned, which is paid means you pay to be displayed, or you're contributing articles which can have a link to come back to your website, or you earn. Earn means basically someone mentions you. So someone mentions like, okay, I've been working with this person for a long time, and she has been a great asset. She has helped me with this, and then I have a link to their LinkedIn profile. This is earned. People mention you, and I would recommend that you go and read this book by this author, and then they mention you. So these are all earned. Okay, so this is technically the basic, simplest view of how this whole thing comes together. So you have your website, you have your channels, social channels, you got content that is serving people with information they need, and how you have it in your own house, and how can you have it in other people's house. Either it's for free or you pay. So this is the only difference. Okay, in terms of how you do it, which channel you choose, which content you give, how you write your content, whether it's attractive enough, how how best do you kind of work on your search strategy. This is the nitty-gritty details of the operational part of marketing. Okay, moving on. Okay, so let me start with what is search. So let's say someone searches for best inside sales course in Singapore. Okay, so the aim for them is to appear on page 1 in Google. Okay, so this is how it looks like. And then, so this is basically when people search, you need to appear, and you need to make sure you have a title there. You have your meta description, which is the small parts of what you see here. They also have a title tag and a H1 tag. So all this will help people to, when they search, for your brand or for your offer to come up on top. Okay. And I don't want to go deep. I know someone is talking about this, so I just talk about what is search. Next, I just spoke to you about your owned, earned, and paid. So owned is whatever channels and assets that you have, which is your website, your social media profiles, your email marketing, your database, your logos, your image, your own online brochures, your ebooks, your digital white papers, case studies, videos, all this is your owned. Okay. Next is earned, which is media coverage of your products, social media posts from others that share your content. So you post something, somebody reshare that, online reviews and ratings, articles about your business contribution to other sites. All these are earned. And paid is basically you pay to display, to pay per, when people, you even in Google, you can have ads, you pay to appear on the top, and you pay Facebook, to boost your content or your post, that's paid. Okay. So I just spoke about this. So if you can Google yourself today. So if you Google on something, you can see the moment, the first top, whatever you see AD in a small box is called ad. Okay, so technically people are paying money to appear on the top. And at the bottom is the organic SEO. So there are two schools of thoughts as well. Like some people like it like, hey, why do I want to invest so much money on just trying to appear on page one? Might as well I just pay the same. If I hire someone half a month, $1,000 to do this, might as well I just put $500 for pay per click. There are people who does that also. There's also people like, I don't even need to appear on page one because my traffic is not going to search for me. My traffics are more direct, from direct contact. They are just going to search for me directly. So if that's the case, then they don't even want to play the search part. So it depends on how your organization is structured today. Okay, so technically, what an effective digital marketing strategy looks like is percentage of owned and earned. Quick fix is paid, as I said. SEO optimized contents, search friendly strategy, easily digestible content, right channels and engagement, clarity in strategy, which is ROI. And ROI, basically, I know I'm jumping around the topic, but, I want to give you the context to how it all comes together. So when you talk about earned, owned, and paid and all these social media places where you are going to put your ads or your post or whatever that you plan to do, always remember the 80-20 rule. 80% is for ROI based activity. So any money, if I put $10, I need to get back $50 or $100 times 5 or times 10, minus all my production fee, cost of operations, and everything else. So when you look at your total profit, how many number of books do I have to sell in order to break even for this ad that I'm paying for, right? The 20% is for PR and branded activities. So, you want to have followers, you want to have reach, you want to brand yourself, you want to improve your brand positioning. So that is the 20%. So it's 80-20, 80% is ROI based and 20% is non-ROI based. Okay, a lot of companies always throw in money without even tracking. So we will get into that stage. So a connected customer strategy is usually how it works, from a website perspective. So people come in as strangers, they become visitors, they visit your website, they become leads, they become customers, and then they become promoters. So if you still remember the funnel that I was talking about, the top end is where people become strangers, then they become visitors and leads, then they become customers. Promoters is on the top, the bottom part of that flip, that funnel that I had, which they become promoters. So they have awareness and consideration stage. And then from when they are changing from leads to customers, they are at a decision stage. And then when they become promoters, they are at a recommendation stage. So how do you attract? How do you attract strangers? How do you convert them? How do you close them? And how do you delight them? So basically, these content pieces that we are trying to work together have to keep this in mind. We may have different type of people coming and visiting our website. So we could have strangers, we could have visitors, we got people who are considering our products or buying our book or partnering with our publishing house. And we also have existing customers. So how do we cater to this different group of people? Okay, so when you attract, you have website search, SEO, SEM, social, and blogging coming in. When you are trying to convert someone, you have landing pages, you got call to actions and offers. And of course, you got email marketing throughout, and you also have mobile marketing, social media, and social listening. Don't want to go too deep. These are different topics on its own. Okay, and you got content everywhere. And the last one is analytics. So how do we analyze everything? I hope it's all coming together. So know your customers, as I mentioned, and your buyer persona, use your customer journey, create engaging content, analyze and measure, okay? And personalize to your target audience. So let's move on. I know we are Okay, we got another decent 20 minutes, so let me quickly go on to the other parts. Believe so far whatever I've mentioned is clear enough. So now I go into individual pieces of it. Okay, so content is your marketing toolkit, and as I was telling you, how do you attract strangers? How do you convert a lead to customer? How do you close an opportunity, and how do you serve your existing target audience? Right, all this, you got different kind of content. People are going for blogs, photos, infographic, video, and so on and so forth. So this is a map, mapping content to your personas and buyer's journey. So at awareness stage, even for us, let's say you're looking for a fridge, you want to buy a fridge, or you want to buy a book, you're reading certain stuff, you're looking at certain white books or e-papers, checklists, educational content lists, how to FAQ, you're searching best of the best top books on managing teenagers. There's a lot of things that you're looking for. So that's the awareness stage, consideration stage, and decision stage. And they got different kind of offer format and structure. You will be getting these slides anyway, so you'll have this copy. Okay, and to talk about content, that is another update itself. So I will just keep this as an overview for today. Okay. So I also wanted to flash out something that I've also read in the papers, which was very interesting. Gartner did a survey, and they found that people were also drowning in information overload. So when you search for something, there's just thousands and millions and billions of documents out there. So people were drowning for information overload, and everybody were trying to showcase as if they're the best, but so they were finding it very difficult to make a decision based on what they were reading. They weren't sure which one to go with, So one of the problem was too much information. And when they look at the relationship between volume and value, it's not about the volume of content. I have to have 5 posts every day and 4 blogs every day and 30 videos every month, so that somebody will end up clicking. So it's more about, yes, if you want to go with this strategy, you flood the market so that no matter where people will end up with you. But on the other hand, there's value. So if you give people value of information, so the quality of information, which we call it sense making, helping them making sense of all the things that's available there, that's where they will find value. Okay, so when people are searching for something, and here is a step-by-step guide on selecting or managing a teenage kid. And then at the end of so when people end up clicking there, so yeah, it's more like a guide article making sense of what's available there. And then I recommend that you refer to this chapter in this book, like a very subtle mention, which then people will click to check it out. So it's the quality of information and sense making that will help people understand, because a lot of people today are just information overloaded. So they just want to know, what does it mean? How does it work for me? How does this all tie together? Okay, moving on. So just like what I said, I want to know how to bake a cake, so you can see all this content, the different type of contents that comes up. All means all type of content. If you're only looking for images, or you're looking for videos or news, information is filtered according to your search. Okay, so there's recipes, there's people also ask section, they got videos recommended, and they also have books. So 10 best baking books or 9 best baking cookbooks according to pastry chefs. So like when people click there, they actually say this is other people's house. So people mention you, or you pay to appear there, right? Or the content which is, you curated a blog on 10 best books on baking cakes, for example. So this is how you use Google to play there. Next is digital advertising. So again, as I said, it's either organic or paid. So how you pay to appear. And you also have, you buy ad space. Like if you go to certain pages, from now on, you will see like certain banners appearing there. So, that means is an ad that's been there. So how do you go and get yourself there? Just call that company or write to them and say, I'm actually looking to put a banner ad on your website. Can you please help me with that? So this is my LinkedIn page. So if you look at here, if you all have a LinkedIn page, you can see the ad that is appearing on top of my profile. And there's also an ad appearing on the right hand side. These are all displays. Okay, so you pay to appear there. You can create hashtags and create a big momentum for yourself or for your book or for your audience, or you can join in an existing viral conversation that's going on, and like hashtag Black Lives Matter or hashtag Me Too, and join in the conversation and recommend something, and so get people's attention. So you can also use hashtagging, viral videos, and of course social media advertisements and promoting your company products and solutions. Okay, so I'm just keeping it very simple so that it's easy enough for you to understand what we're talking about. It's not about the individual topic itself is a big topic on its own, on how to create one, how to go about doing one, how about going executing one. But at least at a high level, these are some of the things that you can look at. Okay, social media marketing. So there's only three objectives. Objective one is either you're trying to create brand awareness, or you're driving engagement and participation from communities. Okay, and three, generating social conversions and sales leads. So remember, I was telling you, one is your own channel, another one is other people's channel, right? So you're on your own channel, you can create a community. Okay, you can create a community for parents managing teenagers, or for widows, or for people looking to start up their first business. So it's a community that you own, and you can engage them, and you can publish articles, and you can monetize from their engagement. But on the other hand, if you're looking at other people's pages or communities, and you would see in Facebook, if you're in Facebook, in LinkedIn, there's a lot of groups, interest groups, community groups, and they all are in that group for a reason. They have a common interest for that particular community of topic of interest. So instead of just not sitting in your own space, you might want to go and enter that community and start engaging them. It's not about selling your product or promoting your product heavily, but it's more about being there, being heard, commenting, engaging, providing value. Oh, I actually think, this particular chapter was actually quite good. Maybe you want to just take a look. That's how it is. It's very subtle mention. Sometimes you can, some community websites allow people to post in what they have to offer as well. So you can engage from there. Okay, leverage on communities. So I don't want to go into all these details. I think Facebook is, I think everybody knows, we can create a company page, we can pay for ads, we can run competition, contests, sweepstakes, and whatever not, poll, it's more about engagement. It's not about static. It's more about engagement. You have a company page, you have, how do you keep engaging your audience? How do you attract a new audience? How do you add value to that audience? How do you serve them? And then, of course, it's like this is a channel that you own, but if you go to other people's communities, how do you add value? How do you engage? I think it's more on the engagement part. Of course, a lot of people know Facebook for advertisements, so you can always put a paid advertisement to your intended target group, and pay for click and whatever goal that you have set. LinkedIn, same. You can have your own company page. You can have your own groups or interest groups created. You can use ads just like Facebook to publish. To publish an ad there. You can also have followers and people following your page, growing your own intent pool. You can also put in LinkedIn sponsored ads on top. They got display ads for sale as well. And there's a lot of other things that LinkedIn has to offer. Twitter, same concept. You open your company profile. You kind of look at it's more like real-time engagements. You tweet. You have a list of followers that you have. You can also put in ads and promoted trends. You also can join in hashtag movements, mentions, comment to catch attentions. Okay, I'll skip this. So technically, the rule for Twitter is 4 new tweets, 1 retweet, and 1 self-serving tweet. It's not always about yourself, unless you're a brand page. Otherwise, you can always put tweet in, have your own tweet plus other people's tweets in between. Okay, so this is to show you how YouTube is also trending. A lot of people, and I personally love videos and images, quick quotes, 5 tips, just bullet points, because I've got so much information to digest. So straight to the point, slides and information content is what I prefer. So if you look at this, 90% of people are actually watching online videos nowadays. Video is definitely something that you might want to pay attention to. YouTube is a good channel. Pinterest, Instagram, so you got different audience for different things, imagery based. Pinterest is where somebody says, I read this book and this is great, I'm going to pin it up, for you to check out. So these are some of the platforms. So it's more for you to look at who you are serving, and where do you want to set up your home, or set up your shop. And then the next one is, where are my people flogging to, and how do I go and join them there, so that I can continue engaging them and promoting myself too. With all these different things, of course, scheduling and managing this could be a bit of a challenge. So we have scheduling platforms that you can check out: Hootsuite, Buffer, Zoho Social, where you can go and post. You can schedule in advance all your content for certain dates, certain channels. And you can also manage your brand health in terms of how many engagements are you getting. Are people really liking it? Are people engaging with you, and stuff like that. So it's for you to check it out. So time check, 10 o'clock. So I'm going to take another 15 more minutes and finish this up. So we spoke about everything about strategy, coming up with the approach, how it works with our own content, how it works with other people's premises and contents, how do we backlink, how do you optimize these contents. We also spoke about coming up with the high-level strategy. We looked at all the different social channels, but all this strategy is as good as until you plan it. Only when you execute your strategy is when you see results. Okay, so it's not about just talking, but it's about implementing it, making it happen, right? So I want to quickly go through. This is out of topic, was not given by SBPA, but I think this is important for you to know. So when you come up with, or after you come up with all your strategy, okay, you go and work out on whatever you need, but you also execute a campaign, right? So you have an objective, you got your target audience defined, you got your message, you got your campaign strategy. Okay, my first campaign is going to be a LinkedIn campaign. The next one is going to be a Facebook campaign. That's why I purposely have a different color, so you understand how it all joins together. Then for LinkedIn campaign, what are the 2 tactics that I want to take on? And what are the channels and contents that I want to do? The timeline, the budgets that I've allocated for different things, and what is the KPI versus ROI. So you got a big framework, and then it cascades down to who are the audience, what is the message that I want to do, what is the campaign, what is the tactic, which channels, what are the different things I'm planning to do, how much money I'm going to invest, and how much am I expecting. Then after everything, you track the ROI that you got out of the campaign. So this is one example. So for example, we created momentum for new member. So every November, we'll have a new member hashtag. And then we say, okay, so this is a timeline. In November every year, I'm going to put a blog on the first week. The following week, I'm going to do an email campaign. And I'm also concurrently going to run a paid social for 2 weeks. And then on the 4th week, I'm going to do an email follow-up campaign, or a telemarketing campaign, or a lead follow-up campaign, or whatever that is. So, I mean, it's just an example. So you can come up with your own calendar of things on how you want to schedule your campaign. Okay, things to do. So, okay, so I want to publish a blog post that serves as a landing page, create and publish related social media banners on all the relevant channels. I'm going to post organic and paid social media posts linking back the blog page, linking to the blog page. I'm going to enable team members to share the same post and blog. And I want to synchronize email and social media posts. So some of the things that you want to do. And how does it work? So you have a blog here, and then you talk about the hashtag, we have a 10% off, social media, the paid, organic, and then if you have a blog, okay, start something new is what the theme is going to be, November resolution, and if people click on the 10% off, is coming to email, and that's going to be through our partner channel and APAC SME list, for example. And I want to, end goal, I want to sell 5 licenses, for example. Can have more, but I'm just saying this is just an example. Okay, then, okay, so now what are the contents I need? I probably need a blog post. I need some visuals. I need some Twitter post. I need Facebook post, and I need a LinkedIn post. So these are the things that I need to create. And the channels, and then the hashtags, and how am I going to manage this throughout? And some of the topical hashtags and time-related hashtags that I'm going to use. Paid. How many leads am I going to generate? How many books that I want to sell? Or how many followers I want to achieve? What is the budget that I want to put in and stuff? And some of the visual examples of how this visuals is going to look like. Okay, so just an example, that was just an example of how a campaign can look like, you know, so you not just having a house, not just doing certain social channels, not just doing certain contents, but also running campaigns that can also help boost up and promote what you're doing. Okay. So lastly is analytics. We spoke about return on investment. I just spoke, I explained about the 80-20 rule. 80% is ROI related, 20% is non-ROI related. So if you have $100 budget or $1,000 budget, always understand the 80-20 rule and why you're doing what you're doing. So if you're talking about brand awareness, we're talking about audience size, impressions. And we're talking about, if you're talking about audience size, number of people willing to opt in and continue building a relationship with your brand and increasing fans or followers by X%. If you're talking about generating social conversion and sales lead, actual conversion and sales, so indicate success in moving moving people to take an action to buy, right? Drive X clicks on a website from a specific social promotion, or generating X new leads from paid social campaign, etc., etc. So know exactly what your measurements are. This is a half-day topic on its own, but it's good and clear enough for you to understand. Again, you will get the slides so you can go through it. And lastly, I wouldn't say lastly because I have a lot of slides for you, but then again, if you want to really do an audit, a performance audit of your own internal organization, so you can look at the effectiveness of your marketing strategy. Yep. How well do you know your customer personas? Choice of channels and tactics, alignment of channels and tactics to the desired personas and objective, and so on and so forth. There's 16 criteria there, so you can take a look at this later on. Okay, so time check 10:10, exactly going to stop in 5 minutes. So other strategies and tactics that I personally think is very useful for you or will be useful for you is know your visitors. If you have a website, don't just stay there blindly. There are a lot of tools that can show you who your visitors are. And for me, I get a list of all those people that come and visit my websites, number of page views, number of visitors, and when they came in. I also get to see, for example, okay, this company, okay, they came in on this date and from where, and is it from organic search or is it from referral? And if it's referral, from which source? If organic search means what did they type in to search for me? Okay, and where did they actually search me from? Okay, so I actually get to know this information. So if someone is approaching me, I know exactly what they have done before. Okay, so I've seen like Thomson Reuters. Okay, they actually went in organic keys search, and then I also get to see if I have the database in my list, I also get to know who is visiting me. If I don't have their name in my database, then I get to see that, okay, I got 2 people from Thomson Reuters who are actually looking at all these pages and what action I need to do, right? So I also get to share certain brochures, or I get to share certain information or information about my books or my upcoming ebook or e-learning content kit or whatever. And whenever I share, I also can see how many times have people shared it across, and how many people have viewed it, and which page have they viewed most, which is their interest. Okay. Next, lead capture. And lead capture is basically, we are talking about, having forms, pop-up forms, on your website where people can subscribe to your mailing list. When people are reaching out to you, how you have a house of CRM that you can actually manage so that you accumulate a database over a period of time, and how do you engage on a newsletter or a weekly engagement platform or promotional content, or even having a paid webinar for your content. What does that mean for an author like me, or a publisher like me? Well, basically, you have a book, and people use books for different purposes. Either they sell on bookstore, or they're using it as a bait, when they're going to meet their customers, or they're using this as their thought leadership article, as an expert, subject matter expert in the area, so that they can get their next speaking opportunity, or they're actually looking at a coaching engagement, or they're, or training. There's so many things that people can do out of whatever they are trying to do there, right? So when you get leads from different areas, from your social, from your website, your pop-up forms, your from your Amazon, and like too many leads coming in, you need to house all this and manage it in such a way. You need to connect all these platforms. Okay, so you can even design a task-based assignment. Like if something comes up here, this is what I want to sell this offer, or I want to change it to this action. So you can actually send relevant messages to leads based on their action and stages. And you can also communicate to certain customers according to their preferred mode of communication. You can also set up a sequence where you have regular monthly emails going out to, for example, if I'm targeting mothers with teenage kids, I can also have regular email content, granular content going out to them, educating them. You probably have a fan base following you. We can also take a look at, what's the engagement rate has been. So, so we can do lead tracking, which I just showed you. We can also track, how long it took for something to convert. And lead scoring is basically something where, I have a threshold of certain activities. So if Cecilia goes and click on my homepage, I'm going to give 5 points. If she go and clicks on my course page, I'm going to plus another 10 points. If she's going to go to my product card, another 20 points. So when she hits certain threshold, like say 60 points, it's going to tell me that Cecilia is looking at your page. And then I intervene and try to see how I can engage her. So those are some of the things, and there are a lot of tools, cloud tools. It doesn't have to be expensive. There's a lot of tools that's available. You got Canva that can design, that can cater to your design works. You got Zoho, Social, Buffer, Hootsuite that can help you with your scheduling. MailChimp that can do your email campaign. Magisto, Lumen 5, where if you want to create short videos. Shopify, or if you have WordPress with the e-commerce platform, you can manage your online shopping cart. So there's a lot of tools available there. If you with cloud and subscription based, there's a lot of tools that's already there. So you can search. If you are lost, you can always reach out to us. Okay, lots of tools. Okay. So as I was telling you that we are an appointed program partner for E2I in Singapore, and our funded courses are actually on inside sales and social selling. So companies that's hiring or plan to hire a new sales hire, they will be able to get $3,500 subsidy for these courses. Plus, the company will also get 70 to 90% salary funding up to 4 months. And if the person is unemployed for a long period of time, then we also have career support funding up to another 1 to 1.5 years. So you get 4 months here plus another 1 to 1.5 year if the person was unemployed for a long period of time. So there are a lot of support that's available, and these courses will be very helpful. If you are setting up your inside selling or social selling efforts. And we also have released a certificate in remote working. So if people are camera shy or people who don't know how to work out of a virtual platform like this, we also have remote working certification where it teaches people to get online and engaging audience online. And we also have marketing certifications, which is if you're looking for a generalist, I want to know an overview of how marketing works. We also have a certified digital marketing professional program. And if you want to be a specialist, I want to do strategy and planning work, or if I want to do search, if I want to do social, we also have those certifications available. Okay, so you can just reach out to me. I'm at enquiry@apecsma.com. Or you can reach out to me at Zeena@apecsma.com without a TH, ZEENA@apecsma.com. So this is the two things that I wanted to let you know, and I am done. Thank you. So Frina, over to you.
Okay, hello Zeenath, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you for that presentation. I think it was very extensive. I think there's a lot of information that we can review. But for now, we'll go to the Q&A section. I think there's quite a few questions, most of them coming from Syed Ali, but no problem, it's okay. Okay, so the first question that we have, which I think is my own personal question, I think you very briefly mentioned this thing about the 4:1:1 Twitter ratio.
Yeah.
What makes a good Twitter profile. So I was wondering, does that rule also apply to Facebook?
Facebook really depends on what is your strategy and approach. For example, if you're talking about a brand page, so a brand page is purely about educational contents that adds value, then that one doesn't mention about others, right? But if you have a brand page and if you're talking only about adding value, then you probably may want to look at this Forbes article or Harvard Business Review article that would be very helpful. You can also mention other people's article. But if you keep mentioning other people every time, then what you're going to be doing is pushing out traffic to other channels, right? So you have internal backlinks that can actually help. So that 4:1:1, you can always apply the rule according to whatever strategy that you're approaching.
I see. Okay. Syed Ali wants to know, for that same Twitter ratio, how do you use that rule in doing promotions for books, for example?
Yeah, so you should be adding more content around that particular topic that you're doing. So for example, I'll just take an example about managing teenage kids. So I got teenage kids, so it's easy for me to relate back. So, so if you're talking about, okay, how to manage a teenage kid. So my son, how to handle a kid who's always hooked to video games. How do we increase exam marks for teenage kids in Sec 2 or going to do GCO levels today? So some are valuable contents, and then in between, you actually mention this book refers to, or this particular read, or it was exciting to read on this for this reason from this book. Mention certain chapters, certain quotes, certain snippets. So that's how you induce. So you don't seem like you're you're not being aggressive, but being very subtle. So you add value and you promote your stuff in there.
I see. Okay, and I guess on a similar vein, Dasima wants to know, what are the best ways to increase traffic to your e-commerce site or brochureware?
Okay, so how do you increase traffic to your e-commerce site and brochures, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so technically, one of the difficult things that I have personally gone through myself, I had a website, okay, and I also had an e-commerce, a WooCommerce platform, so That means technically people can go in, click on my product card and pay and all this. Everything was fantastic. I had a beautiful page. I had a beautiful image, I have all the payment gateways all sorted out, money can come in, but where's the traffic? So one of the things that I found out was SEO optimization. So if you want to increase traffic to your site, one is make sure that you have keywords or people can search you. You are there, but how do they know that you are even there, right? Unless they can find you, right? So you need to be searchable. So you need to make sure that you have keywords optimized, SEO stuff enabled, and also promotional content, right? So as I was telling you, don't just sit in your house, go out and network. So don't sit in your website, but go to other people's website, go to other people's social channels, go to other people's community pages and engage there. So that's how you drive traffic.
Okay. You mentioned something about keywords, right? Using a lot of keywords, but I think that's assuming that the keywords are in English. So, for example, I guess like a Malay publisher like Syed Ali, he's wondering if, like, what if your content is in a mother tongue? And will it, so for example, if your keyword is in Malay, will it not appear on Google? So do you need to use both English and Malay keywords?
Not really. So it can be in any language. But again, you can also have this question asked to the other expert that's going to be talking about SEO. But from what I know, Google is able to search for whatever words that you are actually finding for. So I think Malay should be fine too.
I think Google has like that auto translation function as well, right?
Auto translation, like even sometimes I also search for certain things. It does pops up.
I see. Okay. There was one.
Like for example, since it's a Malay, right? So, for example, if I go there and look at Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilaihi Raji'un, what's the meaning of this? For example, if I key in there and I just search, it will actually give me that Arabic word. It will pick up all the document that has that with Arabic translation, with even imageries and videos. So, it will definitely pick it up.
Okay. Now on a completely different question, Dasima wants to know what kind of tool do you use to identify who has visited your website?
Yeah, so there are different tools and platforms that's available for that. You can, of course, certain CRMs come with it. I use HubSpot, and in HubSpot there is this analytics on the top. There's this thing called analytics, and under there is this thing called prospect. So if you go to prospect, you can see who's visiting. In order for you to do that, you've got to take in the tracking code and put it on your website footer. So how do you do that? Again, I'm not a technical person, so I was struggling with HTML and coding, so I would never disturb my website. So what I did was I saw a plugin that's called header and footer plugin. So I just put that, and then all I do is just put whatever header or footer that needs to go in. I just take the tracking code and put it there. So even Google Analytics tracking code, so I just put it there. So it's easy for me. So it'll take care of it by itself. And then I also use Sales IQ in Zoho, which also kind of shows me who are my people, real-time people visiting my website. So it's just like if you have a bookstore, people walk in, you know who's coming, you can go and serve them. But if you're people coming to your website, how do you know who's visiting you? So we actually have Sales IQ. So we're actually looking at who's coming, who's there in our website now. And then you can check it out, and then what happens is, as they move closer, that means the more they stay on, the more pages they see, they keep getting into the inner circle. And sometimes we even trigger a live chat there and then to talk to them. So you're not just being passive, but you're being proactive as well.
I see. Okay. Joseph Lim has, I think this is quite a technical question, so I'll just read it out. He says, in terms of doing lead gen and with regards to PDPA laws in Singapore, what sort of information is allowed to be captured?
Sure. So that's why, remember I was talking to you about the pop-up forms just now, and also all your social channels where people are responding to. So in your website, you should have this form that captures, allows people to submit their name voluntarily. And in there, you should have this thing called, email, telephone number, whatever, right? And there is this tick box that says, I allow you to communicate, or I consent for you to communicate with me using this. So once that is ticked and then people submit, you'll be able to, when you collect your list, you'll be able to collect those who have allowed you to talk to them, so that you don't touch on the opt-out list. So a lot of people, when they do email campaign, they forget to filter the database based on those who have opted in and those who don't want, right? So you got to work on that one. But what I've heard is that if you have a business offer and you want to call someone, you can call them for a business. If that business is going to help them, you can call them. But I don't know how true that is. But for me, I always go the right way, which is capture, get an opt-in. If they allow you to talk to them, then reach out to them using that information.
Just to jump back to a previous question, just now you mentioned about HubSpot and Zoho. Dasima wants to know, is HubSpot or Zoho paid subscriptions?
Yes. So depending on how you, these are just two examples, but I'm sure there's a lot of other tools that's available as well. You can definitely check it out. It's definitely paid subscription. Zoho, what we found was Zoho One. If you go for Zoho One, is about $35 Sing dollars a month, which is quite affordable, and it's jam packed with a lot of features and apps for you. So you got marketing, you got sales, you get email marketing, you got everything. You got sales IQ, you get a lot of things. For HubSpot, they got different tiers, and if you're at a sales starter or a marketing starter, they also charge you for your contacts as well. So you may check it out, yes, depending on what you want.
Okay. So Singy wants to know, how do you increase like your online live events for businesses, and like how do you increase your prevalence on these live stream platforms?
So the first question would be, how do you increase your online live events?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of Facebook Live, Twitter Live, LinkedIn also have LinkedIn Live events that's going on. First is yesterday we did a live event as well. This kind of webinar session, but it was actually broadcasted live in Facebook as well. Usually for this, right, we can even use Eventbrite. Eventbrite is a platform where you can post in your events that you're going to do. People can register, and then once they register, you just need to tell them for those registered people, right, then you can actually let them know that this is the link for them to join at this particular time, and you can actually kind of just host the event, right? So I guess you just need people to know, and you need people to register, and then you just let them know the link, and then they're there. You just need to appear and do your work. So it's as easy as that. Yeah. What was the second line he asked? What was the second question?
Can you share about live stream sales?
Live stream sales. Yeah. So I can relate to this because one of my family members, they are also into retail sector, I also have another relative who's also a publisher, a bookstore themselves. And they were actually trying to promote their books online, and they were actually having marketplace. So they actually went to Facebook Marketplace. They actually have live auctions going on. They also have live promotions going on, and they show what they have, and promote the book and talk about the book a bit, and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of ways to do those kind of things as well.
Okay, I'm just going to go to one of the first few questions we had. Sai Ali was asking, can you explain the flip funnel strategy? I think this is in relation to your slides, one of your earlier slides on 4 critical stages for growth.
What is the explanation that is expected?
I think you mentioned about the flip funnel.
Yeah, I think basically, right. Right. So the whole concept is, if you talk to marketers and sellers, they're always talking about the funnel like this, where you talk about the top end of the funnel, where you got your demand generation engine, where you're doing lead generation, you're doing search, you're doing social, you're doing a lot of things to attract visitors, right? That's the top part of that marketing funnel. When they visit you, then how do they become a marketing qualified lead? Right. So with certain criteria, yeah, she has a teenage kid, and yes, she's in so much pain, and she definitely needs some guidance. She probably need a coaching, or she probably need to go through this training, or she probably need this book, or she probably need my podcast, the 100 podcasts to go through every day while going to work. She need to listen to this, for example. So how do you qualify this lead? After that, after they have become a lead, then how do you then sell to them, right? How do you then close this lead into deal? So a lot of marketers and sellers are looking at the top part of the funnel up to the deal stage. But what they don't do is they flip the other way around, okay? Where now that I've got this customer, I've got her, how do I, she's bought my book before, or she's got my 100 episode podcast. I want to like now cross-sell or upsell her my coaching program, which I think would be very helpful for her. Or I probably would want her to attend my next speaking session or live session that's going to happen. Or I have a 1-day crash course on acing GCO levels, and like, so how do I, so that one customer itself, we can sell a lot of different things, right? So what ended up as a $100 sale could potentially become a $1,000 sale, right? So that's what we're talking about, flip the funnel. So you just don't look at the top part of the funnel, but you flip the funnel, because it's the same funnel, you flip it the other way. You start with $100, then when you cross-sell and upsell, it becomes fatter. That's what it means.
I see. Okay. I think this is the last question we have. It is from Joseph Lim. He's asking, how long have you been an author, and when did you decide to promote your books digitally? And how long have you been doing digital promotion of your books?
Sure. So I am a co-author. I haven't promoted my own books yet. I have created my book on step-by-step, setting up an online tutorial program in Singapore. That was about 20 years back, but I never launched that book. I gave away these books to homemakers who were trying to earn money from home. So I used to photocopy this and give it to them. And I used to give them through an ebook. At that point of time, I was not very monetary based in that sense, So, and I've also co-authored a book called 5X Engaging Top Deals with Lisa Magnuson in US. And another book on entrepreneurship, on contributing my chapter and my journey as an entrepreneur and entering business. I've co-authored. I've not got the time to do a book on my own, so I haven't really done it. But in my business, and I run an academy, which is a sales and marketing academy, and I engage a lot of authors, coaches, experts in providing coaching, speaking engagements, training, doing podcasts, and I actually promote them. And my engagements and how I do promotion is I do a very subtle brand play. So social, like I don't really like, our audience is not really in Facebook. Ours are professionals. So we do a lot of LinkedIn brand play. We want to make sure we partner with the government. So we want to have that kind of level of adding value and all this. So that's my way of reaching people.
Okay. You mentioned about subtle selling. So Singi wants to know, how do we avoid appearing like we are hard selling?
Yeah. So basically, if you keep saying, I have this, I have that, mine is the best, you should only consider mine, then that sounds a bit like, you're promoting yourself too much. But if you're talking about a lot of how you should be doing something, what I heard, this works, or these are the pain points, you're actually showing off your knowledge and your expertise and wisdom in that particular area. Then you can recommend a few things that people can consider. So, and you also want people to ask you, can you recommend where I can go for this? That's what a subtle play is all about. So you're doing something, you're promoting, but you're not promoting yourself, but indirectly recommending people.
Yeah, I think this is, okay, I think we've reached our last question. I think towards the end, you talked about the courses that you offer. So Sai Ali wants to know, how do you get funding for these courses? And is it only online?
I guess this question is for him. How do I get funding? How does he tap on this funding? Is it? I guess that's
yeah.
Okay. So if you are looking for these courses and you're looking for the funding, just drop us a note. We'll get into a call with you and we'll explain. We'll want to understand which course you're looking for. Just let me know which course you're looking for. Is it for a new employee or is it for an existing employee? And then we will take it from there.
Okay. And are these courses online or?
Yeah, so we have it online. We also have instructor-led in between. So these are all certification courses. So when we may, for example, we will do an orientation program, and then you will go online to take 2 modules, for example, and then third module will have a instructor that will be having a face-to-face Zoom like this, where they'll be going through a coaching session before you go on to the next topics. So, and then after you completed everything, there'll be an exam or an audit that you need to complete in order for you to be certified.
I see. Okay.
So yes, it's a blended learning in that way.
I see. Okay, I think that's all the questions we have for now.
Sure, thank you so much.
Thank you for trusting us as your learning partners. This training program is produced by the Singapore Book Publishers Association. For more training course, please contact us at info@singaporebookpublishers.sg.